Hi, this is Adam, Small Town Machine Shop. Today we're working on the Brown & Sharpe number 1.5 milling machine. Now, seems like a odd thing to jump on, but as you know, I have many other milling machines. So I need to check the condition of this. I want to do it quickly. So I'm going to do the motor. I'm not going to use that motor. I'm going to put a, where is it? 1.5 horse motor in it. Get rid of that 3-phase one. That 3-phase one is full of metal shavings, so it needs to be completely disassembled. So for the time being, for my testing purposes, put that 1.5 inch or that 1.5 horse on there. You might have to do something with the switch, but I don't care if it has reversing or anything right now. I'm just doing a test to kind of gauge the condition of this machine. And how I generally do that is I will get it running, take the vise off it, put a shaft all the way the length of it, as far as I can get the cutter into her, and not beat the machine, but take a pretty good cut, the whole width of the table, as much as the table will traverse, and then I will measure the keyway that I cut, depth-wise all along it and all that, and that'll give you a pretty general idea of the condition of the table and all that. Of course, and that's before adjustments and all that. I don't think it's going to be bad. I cranked the table all the way out, and there was no discernible wiggle. But I want to test it because if you saw my post today, there's another horizontal milling machine with a vertical head at the scrapyard. And I know that's the last thing I need right now, but it's about the same size as the Van Norman, and that'd be kind of handy. So, yes. So, what we're going to do today, I think I have all the stuff I need. Take the switch off, or wire it just for on. Pull that motor off, put the other motor on, and we'll see how far we get and go from there. Okay, let me get some tools and I'll bring you back. So as you see, the switch is already half off, so it shouldn't take much to get the rest of the way. Even if we reuse this, if it needs to be cleaned or rewired, it'll be easier to do off the machine. So let me get in here. It's spinning. Oh, my finger's enough to keep the nut held. Okay. And that part is done. Okay, we're on the last bolt to the motor. Yes, I'm double crescent wrenching it because there were 3 different nut and bolt sizes between 4 bolts holding this motor on. Ooh, that's a little tough. Now, whoever made this adapter plate did a pretty good job. Lots of room for up and down adjustment. I'm sure we'll have to drill some holes in it. It's no big deal. It's not original to the machine. And everything you have to think of when you have this old machines, there's a balance between changing it to modernize it to make it more usable and to keep things original. I don't like to drill into machines and tap holes to add stuff unless I absolutely have to. The planer I'm going to try to, it already has that motor mount, so I won't have to mess with it much. But you have to strike a balance between originality and having the thing be useful in your shop. So, should come free now. Heavy. And the pulley just pulled right off the end of that motor. So, here's the old motor. Oh, it's a US motor. Zoom you in there. Cool motor. So we got plenty of room to drill holes. And then the counter shaft, as it were, can be spaced off if need be. This clearance here is pretty tight. Up there, so we'll be gaining some mechanical advantage. From small pulley to big, to small to big. So we'll be getting all we can out of that 1.5 horse motor. On older machines, you don't want to over horsepower something, I'll say. Especially with flat belts. I have noticed, and this may come as a surprise, but I'm not a physicist. It seems if you overpower a flat belt machine, that the belts will slip more when you're really, putting a load on it. It's like it will overcome the stiction of the belt. I've noticed if you keep it, within reason, the motor will work hard, it will still turn that without breaking free. I don't know if there's a, scientific reason for that. I'm sure there is. But yeah. Okay, let me get this out of the way, and let me pull the donor motor off its little base, and then we'll see what we need to do to mount it to that. Okay, so we got that motor pulled off the other base. Found a pulley that should work. I might be able to squeeze another single pulley on there to make it 2. I'll have to dig through my collection of those. I've roughly marked this plate where the mounting pads will fit. Now this motor is not as tall as this one. So what I'm going to do is to gain a sum, I'm going to put this plate behind this bracket here. Maybe space the motor off with a couple washers, and then maybe space this guy off with a couple washers too. Because as it sits, this belt's going to be rubbing on there. So we need to move it back and the motor out. So that shouldn't be too bad. So what we'll do next is pull this plate off and either take it to the vertical milling machine. I think we might do that. We might take it to the vertical mill, cut a slot in there. This back foot will line up with that existing slot. Just make one there. I'll have to make it 2 new slots there. We'll see. So let me get that pulled off and take some measurements and see where that leaves us. Of course, you guys would spin. It's a square head bolt on the back. Just a little bit of tension against it with an impact is enough to get those off. Okay. Off you. Is it part of this bottom part? Tappy. Nope, there we go. Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to set this up in the milling machine. I made some crude marks of where the motor is going to go. We get this set up in the mill and cut the slots for the new motor and go from there. And then I think also while I'm running around town tomorrow, I'll try to find a double belt pulley for it. We'll see. Okay, let's go get this in the mill. Okay, so what I did is I put it in the vertical milling machine. I trammed the cutter in with this slot here, because that's the one where the bottom half of the motor is going to go. And just, this plate's cut really rough and it's wore. It's got all kinds of rough edges. So I just put the cutter in there, ran it back and forth, and tapped the plate to get it lined up. Then I ended up cutting a 2-inch slot, give me a little more play. You know, I had it in the mill. I went ahead and increased the size. You typically don't want to try to cut like all the way across. You want to keep this plate as rigid as possible to keep vibration down. With the motor bolted on there, it probably wouldn't matter. And so you already cut it. I did record the previous section, but the microphone was not plugged in. So there you go. We got a nice, use some deburring. Got that slot done. So then we'll just have to reposition the plate. I'm actually going to take the plate off, or actually just crank it off to the side and set the motor on it and take all my measurements and then, you know, mark it. It'll end up being about a 1/2 inch inside of this existing one on this side. But it's late, so that'll be tomorrow's project. Yeah, all I gotta do is cut those other slots, adjust for the different pulley sizes. I think while I'm running around town tomorrow, I'm going to try to find a double pulley that'll fit that motor. That way it's not super temporary. I could actually, you know, use the machine. I could use it with one belt, but I like to have 2 on a milling machine. Okay, that's where we will stop for the day. Good progress, good progress. This is Adam from Small Town Machine Shop. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.